just love a parade? It seems everybody does. The Memorial Day Parade was a big event in the New England hometown where I grew up. I don't think I missed a single one. And when I moved to this area, I discovered the city of Fairfax has a parade on the 4th of July, and we went. Watching the Macy's parade on Thanksgiving Day is part of our annual tradition. It's on television, though. I love the parade that we've just been a part of. Processing on this glorious day from your beautiful outdoor altar through your grounds, your beautiful grounds, and into this worship space. It's one of the pieces of our observance of this day that helps make Palm Sunday one of my favorite days of the entire church year. The procession and the palms and those wonderful hymns. The most thrilling parade for me has been the inaugural parade that I've been able to go to. I figure because I live in Washington, every once in a while I ought to do something because I live in Washington. So each time I've decided to brave the crowds to go to an inaugural parade, it was worth it. It was worth squeezing into the packed metro cars, walking blocks, waiting hours, and battling crowds every step of the way, just to catch a glimpse of the new leader of our country. I wonder if that's how it was for those who gathered to watch Jesus ride towards Jerusalem on that first Palm Sunday. They wanted to see this amazing teacher, this powerful healer they've been hearing so much about. It's been 20 years since my pilgrimage to the Holy Land, but I still remember walking those paths Jesus traveled on the last week of his life. Our group gathered at the Mount of Olives, ready to enter the city of Jerusalem, tracing the route of what we now call Palm Sunday. At the bottom of the hill was the Garden of Gethsemane, guarded by remnants of the very olive trees that overheard Jesus' prayer, that overheard his scolding of his sleepy disciples that night of his betrayal. Straight ahead was the Mount Zion, with the ancient walls surrounding the city of Jerusalem. Vendors were ubiquitous in and around the city, and here at the Mount of Olives they included several who offered the use of their donkey for a price. And for another price, you could ride rather than walk Jesus' path into Jerusalem. Now, I wasn't willing to part with $50 to have my picture taken while sitting on the donkey. And I certainly wasn't willing to part with $150 to borrow the donkey for a ride into Jerusalem. But there were those people who were. There's a church in Region 5, one of the regions I served, that rents a real live donkey for their Palm Sunday service. Evidently, there are several relatively nearby places where one can go to rent a donkey for the day. For the last several years, this church's Palm Sunday observance has been enhanced by Don the donkey. And then, after Don went to his great reward, Dot the donkey joined their celebration. Their congregation and donkey parade around the neighborhood and then right into the church. Jesus chose a donkey to carry him into Jerusalem. He too had to borrow the donkey. He was born in a borrowed barn, as a newborn was laid in a borrowed food trough, and who by week's end would share his last meal in a borrowed room, and the next day be laid in a borrowed tomb. He also had to borrow a beast of burden for his entry into the holy city. Jesus was not the first to process into Jerusalem, and he would not be the only one to process into the city that Holy Week. Between the books of 1st and 2nd Maccabees and the historian Josephus, 12 similar entries are recorded. Jesus' procession on this day would recall for faithful Jews the military entry of the triumphal leader Simon Maccabeus a few centuries earlier. 1st Maccabees tells us his procession was greeted with praise and palm branches, and with hymns and songs. People greet Jesus by waving branches they've cut from the fields, the only weapon or gift they have to offer. And they shout Hosanna, which means, save us now. Why? did Jesus choose to ride into Jerusalem on a donkey? He was making at least two statements, one religious and one political. The prophet Zechariah had foretold the Messiah would arrive as a humble man, one riding on a donkey. Jesus' mode of transportation was fulfilling Zechariah's prophecy. As a military statement, he entered Jerusalem from the east. Bethany and the Mount of Olives are to the east of Jerusalem. He entered on a humble beast, a donkey. He wore no armor. He carried no weapons. He was declaring peace. But there was another procession into Jerusalem at this time, and this was a military procession that entered Jerusalem from the west. Pilate was very concerned about maintaining order in Jerusalem for this, its busiest week of the year. As Jewish pilgrims arrived in the holy city to celebrate Passover, the city's population swelled from some 50,000 to over 200,000. Marking a festival that recalled their liberation from the oppression wielded by Pharaoh centuries before, these pilgrims might well have thought about being freed from the oppression of the Roman emperor they so despised in their day. Pilate wanted to be sure he did everything in his power to show his power in order to discourage any thoughts of insurrection. His cavalry rode in on horses. His foot soldiers wore armor and carried weapons. Entry processions were important occasions. Whether they featured a general, a governor, an official, or an emperor, they displayed Roman political and military power. Jesus' entry parodies this mindset and makes a political statement. Riding a donkey, not a war horse, his goal is not domination, it's not intimidation, and it's not greatness. Rather, his goal is humble service. Humble service has been Jesus' way of life, his raison d'etre throughout his earthly ministry. It will be the final lesson he will drive home to his disciples on Thursday night. As we come to the final leg of our Lenten journey, we remember Jesus' request that we walk this path with him, that we gather Thursday night to participate once again in the acted-out metaphor of humble service as we wash one another's feet. And we hear once again Jesus' new mandate that we love one another. He bids us come on Friday and walk the Via Dolorosa, the way of sorrows, as we remember once again our Lord's act of self-giving love. Let us shout Hosanna this morning, and then commit to walk humbly with our God through the valley of the shadow of death this week, before we gather again next Sunday to celebrate with great joy this new life of resurrection. Amen.
Amen.